Great. So welcome to the Babies and Children's Wellness class. Just first, I want to thank Holly and Ebony. It was Holly's idea, a wonderful concept. We've had so many people that have really shown interest for months about this, and it was Holly's kind of idea to create this sort of class just to support young mums, and it's such a scary time, so it'd been nice to empower you more and give you more confidence in how to use essential oils. And we've got the lovely Ebony, the essential mummy, and she's used oils right through her pregnancy, and her two little boys just are oil babies, aren't they? So it'd be lovely to hear both your experiences as well. I'm just going to share my screen and we'll start the slides. Great. Okay. So this is what we want to do: empower you to be able to support your children naturally, especially this time of year. It's so hard when kids have got a snuffly nose, or they can't sleep, or they've got tummy ache, and lots of seasonal illnesses. And we want to be able to support our kids. Obviously, if it's something serious, we go to the doctors, but a lot of common sort of minor ailments, we can support ourselves naturally, and we're going to show you how we can do that. So that's our goal, to empower you. And I can speak for the other mums who already use oils on here, that it is so empowering to be able to give your child something, that they can really, that they can just soothe them and comfort them when they're not feeling very well. But firstly, I'm just going to do a quick little review of what essential oils are, because I know there's a lot of people that maybe use essential oils, but there's also a lot of people that are complete beginners, and I was the same. Just bear with me 1 second. I think I might need to just mute some. Oh, that's a nice noise. Yeah. So what are essential oils? Well, essential oils are basically they could be the resin found from the tree, or the rind, or the root. They can be found in flowers, and they can be found in many different parts of the plant. And for example, we look at the frankincense oil. Shut that door, Jack, please. The frankincense oil is produced from the resin of the boswellia tree, and it's like a sap-like substance that comes out the tree, and they just literally score the tree, the incision, make slashes in the tree, and then this beautiful resin comes out, and then it's then steam distilled into the beautiful precious frankincense oil. And obviously you can only score the tree a few times of the year to not destroy the tree's value. So that's why it's so precious and quite expensive as well. Whereas we've got the lavender, I'm sure we're all familiar with lavender oil if we don't already use it. It's a short shrub that's found in the Mediterranean. It grows in, the doTERRA oil actually grows in Bulgaria, and it's steam distilled from the flowers. And the difference with if you've used essential oils before, the difference between essential oils bought from a shop and the essential oils that we're sort of advocating to use are the purity. So purity really does matter. I don't know if you've bought essential oils from a shop before and it says 100% pure on it. Well, you're not sure if it is pure, because they can get away with putting pure, but it can just contain 5% pure oil. The rest is adulterated. It could be synthetically made, and it's obviously to help with profit. And there's no licensing, there's no regulation. They're allowed to get away with that. So imagine if you were to use 100% pure oil. If you already use 5% pure oil, imagine the difference on your family's health and well-being if you were to use 100% pure oil. And that's what doTERRA is. The name is from the earth, and the people that created doTERRA came out of the aromatherapy industry because of this, the lack of purity, and they decided to create their own oil. It took them a long time to find the pure oil, and they found it. So it goes through so much testing to make sure that it literally is distilled from that plant, the flower or the shrub and straight into the bottle, and nothing added or taken away. So we can be confident that when we're using it on our family, it's the best that you can have. So that's a really important first step when we're using essential oils, the purity. And some safety guidelines as well, because if you go on the internet, you might type in what's safe for children and babies, and you get so much conflicting advice, don't you? Especially when you put pets as well. That's a big one, isn't it? Oh, nothing's safe for pets or whatever. So we just wanted to really make you more confident in what you can use. So the answer is yes, you can use essential oils with your children. But because children are smaller and more sensitive than adults, it's important to understand that the rules are slightly different and the usage is different. So we adjust our application methods. So a drop of oil that I would put on, I would put different onto my child. I would dilute it a lot more, use a lot less essential oil. And as children have more sensitive, delicate skin, always dilute it with a carrier oil. The ideal thing is just to have a sort of 10 drops of carrier oil and 1 drop of essential oil. That's a really good guideline. A carrier oil could be any sort of plain pure vegetable oil. We use fractionated coconut oil because it's a really good, it's non-greasy, there's no odor to it. It's a lovely one for children as well, a lovely all-rounder. So when trying a new essential oil with your child, a really good place to apply it is to the bottoms of the feet. The feet are less sensitive, and the perfect place to apply essential oils on young and delicate skin. It's really important that we teach our children that it's not appropriate to just play with essential oils and just, throw it all over. It's important that we show them that they can be used in an empowering, safe way, but obviously under the supervision of you as parents. So it's really important we educate them not only on what they can do, but also the safety. So that's just a little bit of a safety starter there. Just in general, when we're using essential oils, a really good place to apply them for children, I know Ebony will probably talk about some more ways in a minute, would be to apply them to the bottoms of our feet or on the spine, which is these are both good root points to our body. And then the essential oil will go to where it needs to go. So just remember, essential oils are like the life force of that plant, and they contain a lot of restorative properties, and the tiny little molecules, basically the nature's sort of blueprint of us. So our body can really recognize these tiny little aromatic compounds because nature's created it. So it will use those beautiful benefits and go where it needs to go in the body if there's a weakness. Things like massaging will increase benefits if you're using it for a bit of discomfort or pain. And just to avoid, obviously we would avoid this anyway, but the inner nose, the inner eyes, and always dilute. And doTERRA oils, we know they're 100% pure, so they're very potent. We only need 1 drop, small amounts more frequently for best results. And when we're using essential oils, we might want to make up a blend, like Ebony is going to talk about some of the blends that she makes for like teething, earache and things. Just remember a 10 ml roller, so that's an empty roller that we can make a blend up. If we've got a 1-year-old, a good guideline is to put 1 drop of essential oil and the rest carrier oil, and just go with a drop of essential oil per year of their age, as you can see on that chart there. That's a really good guideline, just so you can know what's a safe sort of way to measure what essential oils we're using. We're going to go look at the 10 core oils tonight because there's so many oils that we could go through, but we tend to use core oils because this is what we all use as parents. And 10 oils can cover 80% of common ailments. So it's really a good way to start. You've got your own sort of first aid and wellness kit. So that little green box there is what I had. I didn't know what to do with it at the time. I was educated, but it's been amazing. That's all I've needed for things like sore throats, earaches, head tension, growing pains, whatever it is. You can literally make up something and soothe your children or yourself. So we're just going to go through how we can use these individually. So like the deep blue one is a soothing blend for muscles and tension and things like growing pains. It's one that we can use diluted on painful areas for our children. if they've been playing football, they're aching the day after or anything like that. So that's a really good one we can use. Oregano is known as nature's antibiotic. So this again is something that we can use on our children's feet if we dilute it to support their immunity during the winter season. Really, really lovely one. It's not the best smelling one, but it's very powerful. So we only need a small amount diluted. And that would be really good. For adults, we use oregano. We actually gargle it internally for sore throats and tonsillitis, things like that. It's really effective for that. But we're talking more for children now. So we apply it to the feet. And it doesn't matter where you apply it, if it's to the feet, to the spine, it takes about 20 minutes to affect every cell in the body. So don't be too concerned about where you apply it, as long as it's to those areas. Have you ever put onions on your feet and then a few minutes later you can taste it in your mouth? It's that sort of analogy. So you can be confident that if you're applying it to those areas, it will direct to wherever the body needs balancing in some way. And then we've got Zengest. So this is a wonderful one. I think Ebony will talk about this as well. It's known as a tummy tamer. So whenever the kids have either got motion sickness, travel sickness, or tummy pain, it's just beautiful to rub on over the tummy area. And obviously Ebony is going to talk about how it's good for colic and babies and things like that. But yeah, just a great one to have for anything to do with the digestive system, constipation, anything like that. Actually, we had a newborn. I made a little roller up of Zengest and the kids tamer and sent it up to him, just a drop of each. And I've heard that this little baby was struggling. It started to break wind a lot more. So that was really, really good. Winner. And just applying it to the baby's feet as well. So that was a nice experience. And then we have On Guard. So On Guard is similar to oregano for its immune boosting properties. It can really help. It's known as the protector. It's got cinnamon, clove, wild orange, rosemary. It's really good at helping to cleanse the air if we were to use it in a diffuser. So I don't know if anyone uses room diffusers where you just put the water in and then you apply your essential oils. And this is a lovely way to help the whole family to breathe in the beautiful properties of these different oils and blends, whether it's for opening the airways or just cleansing the air. And we know On Guard's really good. If you're worried about coughs and sniffles and things spreading in the air, airborne bacteria and viruses, definitely get On Guard on your diffuser. But also rolling it on the kids' feet, On Guard is absolutely brilliant for just keeping them strong in winter. And obviously we're not going to stop getting, catching things, but we do find that using this, within a day or two, things have been nipped in the bud and it's not been too serious. So definitely really good to know we can protect our children. So On Guard's wonderful, as is tea tree. We know that's got many antibacterial properties. And it's also great for like bites, skin, if the kids have got fallen over or they've got, I don't know, jellyfish bite or anything like that. Even earache, it can draw out the infection if we apply that onto that area. So it's a great eradicator of anything, even like head lice and things like that. And then we've got air. So air does what it says. It helps you to breathe. So if you're bunged up, congestion, you can put it in your diffuser, put some on the kids' feet, or even dilute it and apply it to their chest. It really helps to open up their airway so they can get a better sleep. A really good top tip is to put air in the bottom of the shower and hit the hot shower on, and it really helps to open up their airways as well. And then one of the most beautiful oils of all the kit is frankincense, known as the healer. It's such a gentle, precious oil for children. It's one that I would even say, depend on the sensitivity of the skin, it can be used neat. It's such a lovely, gentle oil. It's great for helping with any sort of skin healing. But it's also great for keeping us strong, our immunity and cellular health. We can sort of apply it to the kids' feet, but also it enhances all the other oils. So let's say your child's got a cough and you were using air. If you were to add frankincense, it's just going to really sort of enhance everything that the air would do. So it's known as the healer, and it will just sort of impact everything, adding frankincense. So that's always a good thing to add. Also helps with focus, does frankincense. So you could apply it to the temples and the back of the neck as well, to help with focus if anyone is doing the homework or homeschooling or anything like that. And then we've got lavender. So we all know how great lavender is for calming down, but we can also use it for things like skin rashes or anything like that. It's really good for that. So we've got lavender for skin, sleep, stress, but even allergies. So we've got a lovely hay fever blend, we call it, sort of a seasonal allergy blend with lavender, lemon and peppermint together, and they're really good at helping to reduce the histamine response in the body during seasonal times. So that's a good one to try on kids. You could make a roller up of those three and just roll it on the feet and just under the nose during that time of year, and that's really effective. For adults, we'd take a drop of each in a capsule if you wanted to take that internally as well. And peppermint's great for cooling the children down if they've got a bit of a fever or anything like that. Putting it over the tummy, very similar to Zengest for digestion. You could just apply it into the tummy. We make raw chocolates with peppermint oil, hot chocolate, it's just like a food oil, as is lemon oil and wild orange. So really good to use. And it helps to open the airways as well. So you've got quite a few to play with there. Lemon is good. I think Colin might talk about lemon in a minute. And wild orange. So they're all really uplifting, the citrus oils, but also great for the immune system and great for digestion, just cleansing the body. So just going to move on to, if we can invite, is it right for you to speak now, Holly? And then I'll move on to the kids collection. Just talk about your experience. I know you've used oils for quite a while, and how you've enjoyed using it on your two.
Yes, will do. Bear with me. I'm not a huge fan of Zoom, if I'm honest. There we go. Can you hear me? Yeah, good. So I've been an oil user for around, I would say, 5 years, and I thought I knew everything about oils, but actually I knew not very much since meeting doTERRA, because I think that's what I love about doTERRA. It's the education. They teach you a lot about how to use the oils. So I think everyone just needs their wow moment with oils. I've just converted my husband, which is absolutely amazing because he's a man of very little words. He's not easily convinced, and he's just had his wow moment with oil. So it started with my son. My son was rushed to hospital at 4 weeks old, and it was extremely stressful, and we nearly lost him. He couldn't breathe, and long story short, he had bronchiolitis, severe bronchiolitis. He came home, stuffed full of antibiotics, which was obviously important, but then he wasn't sleeping through the night. And I felt absolutely powerless to the whole situation. It was very, very stressful, one of the hardest times of my life, because he then got recurrent bronchiolitis almost every other month, and we couldn't figure out why this was happening. But then I got in touch with a lady via Instagram, actually a lady from Young Living. You might have heard of Young Living. It's it's a bit like doTERRA. They also sell essential oils, and she was wonderful, and she told me about diffusing and how diffusing at night time can really help your baby to breathe. And she introduced me to peppermint, and I'd never heard about diffusing. So I did a lot of research, and I bought some peppermint oil, and for the first time in his little life, he actually slept through the night, and that was it for me. I was completely and utterly convinced. I applied them to the bottom of his feet with a carrier oil, and he just slept so much better. It turns out just to add to the story, we were living in a sick house, and when we moved out of that house, the whole side of the wall where he was sleeping, behind these great big silly antique wardrobes that we had that you could never move and clean behind, had mold all along the wall. And I think you've all seen from the news headlines lately how dangerous mold is. A little boy in this country died through inhaling the spores. So since then, he's had endless problems with his chest. We've been in and out of hospital multiple times. It's been stressful, but the oils have been amazing. And then I was introduced to doTERRA, So that's all I was using was peppermint. But then I've just been introduced through Rachel to air and frankincense, and he got another cold about 10 days ago, and I get the usual feelings of stress, anxiety, because I'm always worried it's going to end up in a hospital visit. I don't like him being on steroids very much because that's what it used to end up in before. And we know they're not that good for you, really, steroids. But obviously, if you have to, you have to. It's a different story. But I used the air and the frankincense in the diffuser, and within 3 to 4 days, and that was literally it. I think he only had Calpol once, and within 3 to 4 days, he'd gotten rid of the cold. And it's things like that. When you see it for yourself, how it can really help your family, it's amazing. My husband, I'll tell you what his was peppermint again. So he had a headache. He suffers with quite bad headaches. And I'm just new to doTERRA, so I'm getting used to their ways of using the oils. And I said to Rachel, you know, what do I do? What do I do? He's got a headache. So just a couple of drops in the hand, smelt it, inhaled it really deeply for 4 seconds. Hi, Wilf. He's so cute. Inhaled it really deeply, put it onto his temples, around the back of his neck. And I'm not joking, I couldn't believe it. I was so happy, Rachel, that I converted him. I think about 15 minutes afterwards, he said, Holly, my headache's gone. I said, see, I told you they work. I've been trying to convince him for years that they work, but it's doTERRA's oils that have convinced him. I could go on and on and on. My daughter had a sore throat a week or so ago, and we've always used lemon and honey, a teaspoon of lemon and honey in my house. Just, you know, lemon juice, but it's never really taken a sore throat away. So I think Rachel's mentioned the potency of essential oils. So we used a drop of lemon essential oil and some manuka honey, and the next day she said her sore throat is gone. So I don't want to bore you, time is precious, but you've just got to use them to be able to really believe in them.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you. It's always lovely to hear real experiences, isn't it? So thank you, Holly. All right. Also, just carry on, because we have so all these oils can be used sparingly on the kids, but we also have so this is kind of an idea of what the 10 oils can do for things like sore throat support, immunity oils, tummy tamers. If anyone wants these slides after, they can have them just so you can have a quick look through. So they can all be used on kids and babies at the right dilution. But we also have a kids collection, which are designed particularly with kids in mind, with the beautiful smells and the way that they can support kids' mental health, focus, mind and body, basically. So we're just going to have a little look through what these can do for us. So we've got Steady. So we're just going to let, this is one of Ebony's favourites, isn't it, Ebony? Do you want to talk about Steady?
It is. So I have a very strong-willed little boy. He's amazing and I love him, but he gets very overwhelmed and he's a real tantrum thrower at times. So we've started using Steady with him about a year ago, and it was more just a way to connect with him, get him to calm down. I'd be like, should we get the oils out? And I'd get it out, put a bit on him, put a bit in his hands, inhale it, and after a few minutes, it'd be a lot calmer. So it's one that we always reach for, and he sometimes asks for, which I love. He always picks between that and calmer. But yeah, it's just a really good one for calming them down, even just taking them a few moments to inhale it with them. Sometimes I can feel a little bit like pulling my hair out with him, and it's good for me as well. So yeah, it's just really good for grounding his emotions and handling any stress, any sort of moods that he's having, just help steady them. So yeah, that's how we do it. We apply it either to his hands and let him inhale, to his chest, up and down his feet, and up and down his spine sometimes. Just whatever areas at hand that I can get in with.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, it's wonderful. I've got a mum who's just sent me a little message about she uses it on her 2 little boys. They're really hyperactive little boys, lovely, but Steady, really, she said it helps calm him at bedtime. And his head gets very busy. So she gives him Steady or Calmer, and she said he likes the routine and he trusts that they work. So it helps when he comes out of bed to just do a quick roll of the oils and off he goes back to bed. And she put 9 out of 10 times he stays there. It also helps with his anxiety. So we've just what we do with everybody, young or old, is just to say with a drop of oil, if you just pop it on your hands or roll it on if it's for the rollers, rub it together. So kids can do this if they're feeling a bit frazzled or they just need some time out, just to inhale for 4 and out for 4, and just do that a few times. It can really help to reset the brain. And you know, when kids are just going off on one, it can really help. And obviously when you've added a grounding oil like Steady or one of the other ones, it can really just help to ground them. So that's Steady. And there's also Thinker, which is a focus blend. So the book says that it's great for supporting kids with attention deficit disorder and things like that. We'd apply it to the back of the neck, like 3 times a day or as needed. For kids that suffer with things like autism, Asperger's, hyperactivity, mental handicaps and nervous disorders, it can be really supportive. And the top oil in here is vetiver. So if anyone knows about essential oils, vetiver is like the brain melter. It's just known that just helping just to calm the brain. It also has peppermint, clementine and rosemary, and they've all been studied for their abilities to help with mental focus. It says this is a blend of oils for peaceful thoughts, and it helps turn agitation and frustration into centered thinking. So that is Thinker. And then we've got Rescuer. So I'll just talk about Rescuer. So we talked about the deep blue in the adult one. This is like the deep blue for children. So it's a really lovely one if kids are feeling a bit achy, they've got any bumps or they've fallen over and they're feeling a bit achy, or any sort of growing pains, battle wounds, sports injuries or bruises. It's got copaiba in it, lavender, spearmint, and it can really be soothing for any sort of joint pain and muscle pain, any sort of sports activities. It's really good for bumps and bruises, really a really soothing blend to use on tired legs or anything like that. And one of your favorites, Ebony, is Stronger, isn't it?
Yeah, so we use this quite a lot since Mateo started nursery. There's always snotty noses and goodness knows what going around. So every morning I try and remember to pop that on his feet and on his back when we're getting him ready. Just helps to keep his immune system fighting everything off. Helps him he's not come home with as bad as a snotty nose as I'm quite happy with that. He does get a little bit run down from time to time, so this helps just to keep him back on that top level, which is really good. And it's got some really nice oils in it as well. Another great sort of substitute for it if you didn't have Stronger and you do have the Home Essential kit, is the Flume blend. I think that's on one of the slides. That's very, very similar in keeping their immune system ticking.
Oh, yeah, that's lovely. Yeah, we think of what's in it: frankincense, cedarwood, rose, really good. Stronger does what it says. So I'm going to talk about Brave. So Brave is a lovely orangey smell. It's absolutely beautiful. I love the smell of Brave, and this literally does what it says. It can really help if kids are feeling really anxious before something. You could roll it on the hands or the pulse points, get them to breathe it in before they're out to do something. So any anxiety, fear, maybe it's first day, something new, and they're really a bit scared, Brave would be a lovely one to support their feelings. You can roll Brave onto the bottoms of the feet, back of the hands, and it's just a really lovely, reassuring blend. So that's Brave. And then Calmer.
Oh my word, it's like the smell of Mateo's bedroom. We put it on him every night. And it's honestly, when I walk in his room, that's all I can smell. It just helps him to unwind. When kids have busy days just like the rest of us, and sometimes when they go to bed they don't want to, they're a bit like, takes a while for him to wind down. So we always like do a story and put some Calmer on him, and it's a bit got like lavender and things in it, so it's just stuff to help him relax and help him calm. It's really good for that, and apparently for night fears and stuff like that as well. When we apply it, we don't normally have him waking up through the night, which is fantastic. When he was about 1 year old, he used to wake me a few times, and that's when this started coming out and coming in handy. But since we've had Calmer, we've not had any wakings through the night, which is sleep is golden, so winner for me.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, I've heard a lot of things about Calmer. We've had to send Calmer out if it ran out to a really desperate parent who ran out of Calmer. So that was good. Yeah, so a really good one for sleep. And then we've got finally Tamer, which is like the tummy tamer, like the Zengest, but it smells like soft mints, it's spearmint and peppermint together. So things like travel sickness or any sort of digestive trouble, just rolling that on the tummies can help with any sort of discomfort in that area. And these can be bought separately or as a full kit as well. And they come with flashcards. It's really good. We've had some kids who have got learning difficulties and obviously can't read, but they look at the colors and they can now relate to how this oil makes them feel. So it's like, Mummy, I need the purple one, or I need the green one. It's lovely to see them reaching out and seeing what they need. So it's really empowering for kids as well to be able to do that. So I think we're going to hand over to Ebony, because Ebony's got her own Instagram page. It's called The Essential Mummy, and she has loads of recipes, so definitely go follow her for tips on babies. So I'll just pass over to you, Ebony, and I've got some slides, but first of all, these are some of the common things that we face with babies and kids, and we're going to look at some of the ways we can support with that. If anyone's got any sort of specific things or questions that we haven't covered tonight, if you pop it in the chat or just save it for later, and we can do a question and answer after. Okay, Ebony?
Yeah. So these are just some of the things that I've found useful. I've had people reach out and ask me for different recipes, just for different things to help with different ailments and different things. So one of the ones that I use probably the most is definitely the immune support. So if I've run out of the Stronger from the kids collection, I can make my own up easy with the immune support if you've got that Home Essentials kit as well. A great way of doing it, so I've got an 8-month-old at the moment, so when he needs it and I have to make it up in a smaller batch, because he can't take a drop of each oil because he's too small, I make it up in an empty bottle and I put like a pipette top on. I should have brought it down actually, and that way when I need to make his roller up, I can just use a couple of drops from that, and then it's all of them in one rather than a drop of each, so it's less concentrated for his little body. So that's a great way of using it, and I roll that up and down his feet and up and down his spine. More often than not, my boys never really have much more than a sniffly nose. Due to the oils, they do powerful and magical things in my house. So we're not normally too ill for too long, which is great. I personally have breastfed both my boys, and that has had a lot of ups and downs in the journey. So mastitis, I found lavender and patchouli really, really helpful. Putting that on a flannel, putting that on the breast for a while, that helps to like declog everything. So that's one that if anyone's ever struggles with that, mastitis can be nasty. So yeah, I'm here for you. I've been through it. I didn't realize at the time, when I was quite new to essential oils, I was breastfeeding my little boy, and I love peppermint tea. Our peppermint essential oil, I think it's the equivalent to 22 cups of tea. Is that right, Rachel? So it's very, very, very strong, and I did not realize. So I was drinking it by the bucket load, and I didn't realize it decreases your supply. So I started to dry up a bit and I panicked, and it wasn't until after that I realized. I did the same with breastfeeding Nico with the jasmine. I always learn the hard way. So if you are looking to maybe stop breastfeeding and you're struggling with the trying to think of the word, like the buildup of milk that you've got, applying peppermint or drinking peppermint or jasmine is a really, really good way as well. I did panic and think, how am I going to get my milk supply back up? I also used essential oils for that. I think that's on the other slides. So yeah, fennel, basil and clary sage what I used. I didn't have them all at the time and I was panicking, so I used the Clary Calm blend until I got these. These worked better, but if you are a bit stuck, there is other options and stuff out there. So that was really good to help get my support going and get breastfeeding milk. I can't get my words out. My milk supply back up again. Teething, I'm not sure if you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen the video of Nico. He was teething. He's finally got his teeth. He's got 4 now, which is crazy. But he was teething really, really bad, and in a moment of desperation, I reached for my copaiba over my teething blend because it was upstairs and I couldn't bother going for it. And I just rubbed a little bit of copaiba on his gums, and within seconds he was a completely different baby. You can see it happening on the camera that he just instantly calms. I started typing out like what I'd used and how it went, and then I looked over at him and his dad were holding him and he'd gone to sleep. He'd been fussing for ages and just wouldn't go because he was obviously in discomfort. So that for me was a really big win. Obviously, if you were going to use that as a regular sort of method, I would use it with a carrier oil. I wouldn't recommend it neat. Desperate times call for desperate measures. But the teething roller blend I found really, really good with Mateo. So just putting a drop of each, depending on their age, obviously dilute it as you need to, in a roller bottle, and just rolling that on the jawline and on the back of the neck. He found great relief in that. Temperatures, bit of peppermint oil up and down their spine was incredible. So when my little boys had their injections, it's recommended to give them Calpol and stuff as well. If you need to go for it, I didn't need to with Mateo and Nico. I just used peppermint oil to keep their temperature down and just kept an eye on them, because I love it. I love to do things a natural way and avoid other things if I can. So yeah, there's all sorts of different recipes. I could be here all day. Earache's a big one, I know, for some kids, especially if they're swimmers, if they go swimming and stuff. So tea tree and On Guard together in a rollerball can be really good to dry out that infection and just to keep the ears happy and healthy. So yeah, just some of the recipes.
Brilliant, thank you. And yeah, head lice, I've never experienced head lice with kids, but yeah, that's meant to be a good one, isn't it? Because I once had head lice when I was a kid, and the stuff that my mum put on, I was actually sick. It was that toxic, so it'd be nice to have something there if anyone needs it when the nurse comes along at school. So thank you for that. Oh, this one here, Ebony, is that for babies or mums?
To be honest, a bit of both. I use it and I've used it on my kids. So Vetiva's like the brain melter. So whether you need it or your baby needs it, it's been great. Sometimes when they've been really restless, I whack that in the diffuser and we're both out like a light. So they're all
Fantastic, brilliant. Thank you so much. Excuse me. So yeah, we'll open it up to questions, and then I can show some of the other kits as well that are available. So I'll just stop recording now. So